Welcome all to my travel vlog channel, MoBiTors, a motorbike tourist. This one is a motorcycle riding vlog. After about 10-day visit in Nepal, I am doing a solo ride from Pokhara, a major tourist destination in Nepal, to reach Dehradun in Uttarakhand in India. So my starting point is Pokhara, where I was there for 3 days. A completely rain-drenched experience, and I did a 4-day continuous ride, resting only at night. 2 days through Nepal to cross India-Nepal border at a place called Bhimpetta to enter Uttarakhand state in India, and from there to reach Dehradun. So this vlog is the first part of a 4-day continuous ride. These are the route options provided by Google Maps, and 2 of them are of the same length, that is about 1000 kilometers. One option is to cross India-Nepal border to reach Uttar Pradesh in India, which can be done in a 1-day ride if you are starting from Pokhara and then you travel through mostly Uttar Pradesh like Balrampur, Shahjahanpur, Moradabad, reaching Uttarakhand state and going through Haridwar and Dehradun. The next option is to continuously ride through Nepal itself for about 2 days, depending on your riding speed, that is taking the east-west highway which connects the entire length of Nepal and going westwards to cross the Indian border and reach Uttarakhand. Then going through some parts of Uttar Pradesh, but again entering Uttarakhand, going through Haridwar and to reach Dehradun. So the route I took was the second option, that is riding through the entire length of Nepal towards its western border, because when I had entered Nepal through its eastern border from West Bengal in India, I had taken a 15-day permit to take my motorcycle in the country, that is in Nepal. Now my visit to Kathmandu was for about 8 days, and then I reached Pokhara and there I was for about 3 days. And so I still had about 2 or 3 days to remain with my motorcycle in Nepal, and so I thought I better use it. So I'm riding through Nepal for about 2 days, starting from Pokhara, and on the first day I reached a place called Butwal, very close to India-Nepal border, before going through fantastically beautiful mountainous roads. My ride from Pokhara to reach Butwal was a magnificent experience, as I have to descend the mountainous hilly road to the plains. Now Pokhara is very close to the Annapurna mountain ranges in the Himalayas, and from there you are climbing down. The name of the road is Siddhartha Rajmarg, and I think about 98% of the route goes through mountain ridges and mostly forested areas, hills on all sides and small and large streams and rivers to give a beautiful experience of the ride. So this video is the first part of my ride from Pokhara to Butwal, and I have done this in 2 vlogs because the entire journey was wonderful. There were a lot of viewpoints and beautiful places on the road to capture on video, which I have done and is in this vlog. So this is me starting from my homestay in Pokhara early in the morning. Out of the total 3 days I was in Pokhara, 1 day was completely washed out, and for the other 2 days I could only venture out for just part of the day, and so it was mostly a washout visit. I was not able to see all the places that one traditionally visits in Pokhara, but I think I have covered the main ones which I had given in my previous vlog. Now whenever I tried to get out of the room and go to some place in Pokhara when I was there, it started raining. So my conclusion is that, or my impression is that monsoon time is not the best time to visit this place. However, monsoon motorcycle riding is what I enjoy, and I have done several monsoon motorcycle rides over the years. This ride I had done in 2018, and during the monsoon period in 2019 I was riding through Karnataka in India. My experience of monsoon motorcycle riding has been somewhat good, and I enjoy it, provided the roads are good. But visiting tourist places like this, like Pokhara, is not advisable during the monsoons. Not only this, any tourist place with a cold climate, like the one I did in this ride itself, that is in Darjeeling and then in Gangtok, was not very good experience. The entire Darjeeling visit was completely washed out, similar to my Pokhara experience, and it was much colder over there in Darjeeling. Gangtok was slightly better, it was still cold over there, and it is difficult to ride and enjoy the ride if it is very cold, especially if you do not have good protection, that is clothing. But one thing I like is that monsoon is tourist off season for most of the places, And so I got accommodations, that is the rooms in the hotels and homestays, very cheap. I got cheaper rooms in Darjeeling and Gangtok than when I came to Kathmandu and then in Pokhara. So overall my impression in this ride is that monsoon period, while not the best time to visit hilly, mountainous, colder climatic areas, it is good when you go to a place which is much more less rainy. When I was in Kathmandu, there was no rain and I enjoyed it. Now coming back to my ride itself, Pokhara is a naturally beautiful place and it is very much like my home state, Kerala, a southern state in India. In fact, these places where I'm going through just reminds me of the few hilly areas, that is the Ghat areas in Kerala. There are only a few and those are Wayanad and Idukki. These are the names of the places, and these places gets good rain similar to Nepal areas during the monsoon, and it is slightly colder than the rest of the state but not as cold as in Darjeeling or even in Nepal. It is just about 30 degrees on an average. It is not just the landscape that reminds me of my home state, but even the houses. Now I have reached the outskirts of Pokhara and even beyond that, and from here the traffic thins down and often to a trickle. I have to take a road that lies in the southwest direction, that is away from the Himalayas. I'm going away from the Himalayas. So the Himalayas lies almost in an east-west direction when you take only Nepal, and so when climbing down you go south, but as well as south you go westwards in this road, that is the Siddhartha Rajmarg. Now on this road there are only very few populated areas, so you don't get to see a lot of people and vehicles on the roads. So the other things also are missing, like the restaurants, the hotels, the rest areas and so on. The road for most part of the journey has been well maintained, even though it is just after the monsoon period. But I should warn you, as I have said in my previous vlogs, Nepal, or most parts of Nepal at least, is landslide prone. And in fact I encountered one very close to Butwal towards the end of the day, where I was held up for about 2 hours due to a landslide. I wouldn't go so far as to say the roads are fantastic. It was much better than I expected it to be. The condition of the road was very similar to Prithvi Highway, which I took to reach Pokhara from Kathmandu. And I think these kinds of roads are the best to give you a good experience of your motorcycle ride. You can enjoy the ride because you're going up and down the hills, but mostly a downward slope. And so going down most of the time, and you're surrounded by beautiful mountain ranges, and at some places you get small and large streams and rivers. While I was coming to Kathmandu and after going through the flat straight roads on the east-west highway, I had taken the Japan highway. It's also called as the Bardibas-Banepa road, or the other name for it is the BP Koirala highway, which was recently constructed. That was one of the most enjoyable motorcycle rides I did, especially in this ride, which I started from Kolkata. Of course, when I went from Darjeeling to Gangtok, about 50 km through the Darjeeling hills, was also a very memorable experience. This road, that is the Siddhartha Rajmarg, which is about 170 km to reach Butwal, is also good and comparable to that of the Japan highway, but not at the same level. In few populated areas like this one, you can see buildings and houses with old architectural style specific to Nepal. I saw some of these houses with old architectural style in the small villages and cities, but I wasn't paying attention and I did not specifically capture them on video. Then at some places you get to see people dressed in traditional clothing like this one, but they are very few. The traditional dress is very unique and you can spot it very easily. These are some of the things you can see if you are riding or driving through Nepal, and the things you will miss if you are flying from one place to another. And these are the things which I like about a motorcycle ride. You get to see more of the country, get an idea of the culture and society of the different places when you're riding or driving through the country. From just about here, the landscape improves, as it was a sunny day, and after a rain-drenched 3-day experience at Pokhara, the scenic places on both sides of the road keeps on improving as you go through this road and climb down the hill. The road till now seems mostly flat, but it is not. There is a gradual downward slope in most of the places, and at some places you have to climb up the hill, but these climbs and slopes are not very steep. They're very gradual, and that is one major difference between this road and the Japan highway. During that ride, that is in the Japan highway, I was going up and down the mountains for most of the time. But in this ride, it is mostly a gradual climbing down these mountain ranges, and as you go further, you get to see much more beautiful places, and in fact, you're going through the mountain ridges, which is very beautiful. So if you look down from the top, you can see large and small streams and rivers, and they look magnificent. These are the very small streams, and I think there is water in it because it is just after the monsoon period. Otherwise, I'm not sure about it. I also feel that the streams and rivers are not just monsoon fed, that is rain fed. They might also be active during the summer season due to melting of the snow from the Himalayan ranges. But anyway, this year, that is in 2018, most of Nepal and even India received good rainfall, and there were even floods in some parts of the country, especially a great flood in my home state in Kerala. So the rains have fed these rivers and are a good sight to see, and you get to see a number of these small and large streams and rivers. When we go further down, the small streams and rivers join up to feed the larger Gandaki river, and in fact that originates in Tibet and flows to reach Ganges river in India. And we're going to see this river in its full might further down the road. Apart from those small streams and rivers, there is another sight. That is the green covered hills you see all around, thanks again to the monsoon rains. And it is all around you, this greenery. And I would say one of the best things of a motorcycle ride is to see such views all around you for hours and hours. Anyway, these hills are interrupted by these small flat landscapes, that is the small valleys, and very small one at that. At times, which is, I think most of them were cultivated. I think most of the cultivation is rice, and in Nepal, I think they have done it wherever they could. That is, the flat valleys are often cultivated, or maybe it is perhaps this time of the year, which is the season for planting crops. This is one of the few larger towns you can see on the road, and they are very few and far between. And this one is called Changri or something like that. This is not a very large place, and even restaurants here are very less. And when I was going through this place, at least about 1/4 of the shops were closed, not sure why. This is a much larger valley just after that main town I said, and I think there is a small river running through this valley, and because of that, both sides are agricultural fields. In Nepal, I think flat landscape is very less, maybe about 1/4 of the entire country, and so wherever they could, they have planted crops. So that could be one reason why they have cultivated wherever available like this one, but I don't know what is this. It seems like rice, but I'm not sure. This day so far has been sunny, unlike the last 3 days when it was completely raining and destroying my plans of sightseeing at Pokhara. When I started early morning from Pokhara, there were some rains, but after that, till now it has not rained. But going further, we are going to get something like a cloud burst and very heavy rain, which led to a landslide on the road and blocked it for about 2 hours. Anyway, due to the good climate so far, I was able to enjoy the ride, and even though it seems to be very sunny, it was not very hot. So you could ride with your riding jackets and all that and will not feel too uncomfortable. This is one of the advantages of riding through the mountains and hills during the monsoon, where the climate, apart from the winter season, is more bearable and enjoyable for a motorcycle ride. I had a similar experience while I was riding through the Japan highway to reach Kathmandu, and in that ride, I started from a hotter climate, in fact, that is from the plains. And as I went up the hill, the climate improved and it was getting slightly colder. Here on this day as well, it was almost a steady temperature. I think it was less than about 30 degrees Celsius. At about this point, I have completed half of this day's entire ride, and this is done I think about 90 kilometers after starting from Pokhara. And from here you can see the valleys much more clearly, which have small and large streams and rivers, and they get larger and larger as you go. Here onwards there is one or the other small river or stream on one side of the road. While I was coming on the Japan highway, most part of my ride had the Koshi river on my side. But here there are different streams. They are, I think, all are being fed into the Gandaki river. And so these places are very ideal for your selfies and photographs. And so I stopped at a number of places to take in the views mostly. I think I stopped at around 10 or 15 places because of the beauty of the places. Pokhara is now considered as the tourism capital of Nepal and has much more equality to Kathmandu in terms of tourism, or probably even standing above it, as this place is known for its adventurous tourism activity like mountain trekking, mountain biking and so on. And mountain trekking is to the Annapurna mountain ranges, which is considered as one of the best trekking routes throughout the world. Then again, the places I have visited in Pokhara did not seem very congested and even polluted as Kathmandu. Kathmandu is very crowded, as it should be, because it is the capital city of Nepal. As I said, population-wise, Pokhara is second only to Kathmandu, but it seems to be spread out, or I think I have not gone to the populated areas of Pokhara. Even I went to the city, that is the main city center of Pokhara, there was not much traffic over there, and even very less people on the roads compared to Kathmandu. And if you come out of the city center to the outskirts of to its outskirts, the roads are free with very less traffic and even less number of people on the roads. So my impression about Pokhara is that it is much more, livable place due to its climate and other conditions. The climate is moderate, it is not very cold when I was there, except for the rains, which is of course to be expected, even required during the monsoon period. The city is not very polluted, in fact it is one of the cleanest cities I have seen, nor is it congested. Although I'm not sure about all these things because I was visiting Pokhara during the tourist off-season. And I'm not sure about what are the conditions like during the season times when there are a lot of tourists, when there are a lot of vehicles and so on. Now on this road, as I've said, the populated areas are very less. That is, the villages and small towns are few and far between, so you do not get to see a lot of restaurants, workshops and even petrol stations. So fill up your tank before starting the ride or drive. This ride I was doing after a disappointing visit to Pokhara, and I was like, let me reach the next place. And also I wanted to exit the country before my permit expired for the motorcycle in the next 2 days. I had mentioned that most of this route is good, but there are few areas with patches of bad roads. Not sure why it is like that here. There is not much construction activity or any other buildings for this patch. It is only like about 200 or 300 meters. It is not tarmacked. But as I said before, most of the places in Nepal are landslide prone, especially during the monsoon. And this could be one area where some landslides must have happened sometime. In fact, just before reaching Butwal, there is a very heavy landslide prone area through which I have to go. And I think it is about 10 or 15 kilometers before Butwal. There is a stretch of road which I think is about 5 kilometers long and is heavily prone to landslide. So just when I reached there, it started raining. I think it was around 3 PM in the afternoon. The rain was so heavy, like a cloudburst. It came suddenly and I had to stop there. I couldn't ride because I was not able to see what was in front of me because of the heavy rain. It was almost like fog. I mean, it completely blocked the view, but only for some time. And then due to that rain, there was a landslide on the road just before I reached that point, and the road was blocked for about 2 hours. From where I left off, here on the left side, there is a larger river which is fed by all those small and large streams which we saw on the way. The river is completely muddy, and initially I thought it was due to the heavy rains, but it is not. The color of the water was in fact not the traditional mud color due to the rains. It was not brown, it was ash or something like that, the color of cement. I read about this river, which is the Gandaki river, and it has significance in the Hindu religion. Based on what I read, it seems that this river is almost always, that is throughout the year, in the same condition. It is having the same color as it washes down the sand from the Himalayas, and so the color. I'm not sure of the color of the Himalayan mountains because whatever I've seen of it, like in pictures and videos and all that, it is covered in snow and is white. Perhaps under all that snow it is having this color, that is a cement color, but I'm not sure. Anyway, the river is in this color perhaps throughout the year or all the time. It starts in the Tibetan plateau, flows through Nepal, crosses on to India to reach the Ganges river. This point, this view in my opinion was the best on this road so far, just because of this road structure. Down below it is only a small stream and not even a river, but it looks beautiful as you can see it flowing over a long distance. At this point I think I have reached or covered about 3/4 of the ride on this day, and what remains is about 40 kilometers to reach Butwal. The place is very beautiful because of the stream, the rock and the green hills all around. I like the place very much because I was tired and I wanted to get some rest, and I stopped at this place for some time to take in the view. This rock is nothing special, but against the background it looks very beautiful and a bit out of place even. Everything combined together have given the spot some kind of beauty. But I'm not sure about if anybody have spotted the beauty of it. Now my DSLR, my camera was somewhere deep inside my bags and I wasn't bothered to fetch it out to get some photographs. I just didn't want to be disturbed from the beautiful surroundings. From here onwards the places are just as beautiful as this, but I'm going to stop this video because this vlog is already past about 20 minutes. I had done a longer video before this, that was my ride from Kathmandu to Pokhara, and that video was about 40 minutes. I had wanted to divide that into 2 parts, but eventually I ended up putting everything in one video. I thought at the time that it was a mistake putting everything into one vlog that could bore the viewers. So I'm not going to put all the video clips that I've captured on my GoPro camera on this ride into one single vlog, as I don't want to bore you with the same thing over and over again. That is the reason why I have divided this one day's ride into 2 video segments or 2 vlogs. The magnificent views continues, but after some time it starts raining, and it was heavy rains, very heavy. From that point it was raining for about 1 hour, and as I said before, it was a landslide prone area, and I'm just giving a preview of my next vlog, which is what you see now. So that is in my next vlog, and I hope you like this one. I'm still in the very early stages of vlogging, and this is just my 18th vlog. So if you really like the video, hit that like button, then share it with your friends who are interested, and also consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. As after reaching Dehradun, I stayed there for about 2 months, and from there I went to Mussoorie, Dhanolti, Tegri Dam, Rishikesh, all of these in Uttarakhand. After 2 months in Uttarakhand, I went to Rajasthan to visit Ajmer, Pushkar, Udaipur, Chittorgarh. Then I went to Ahmedabad in Gujarat state. From there to Maharashtra, visiting Mahabaleshwar and some other places, and then to Karnataka, visiting Hampi, Jog Falls, Madikeri, and so many other places. So consider supporting me by subscribing to my channel and hit that bell button if you would like to get notified about new videos that I post on YouTube. I have given the link to the next video just about here, that is the one on the right side. There is also the link for subscribing to this channel just here. So, thank you.